Hi, welcome to Fishing the Edge. Just doing a bit of drift casting for snapper at the moment over some shallow ground, quite windy, probably 15 to 20 knots. Simply casting out in front of the direction that we're drifting, working some shallow ground, trying to catch ourselves a couple of snapper. So using 7-inch and 5-inch jerk shads, long, skinny stick bait, fair bit of wind, we're drifting fairly fast. They will sink really quickly, even with just a half-ounce jig head. This is a half-ounce 5.0 nitro head. Electronics are really, really important. So use a GPS, the reef's marked on there, pick your point, drift across it. Don't do any good there, move across, try another different section of it. The great thing about this is you're prospecting. Use your sounder, you'll use those ramps where it comes from the flat bottom up onto the reef, and that's usually where the fish are hanging. Simply, as I said before, cast in front, let that stick bait flutter down, and hopefully a big snapper's going to see it on the way down, or who knows, Samson fish, pearl perch, as a myriad of other species you can get on the soft plastics as well. You can see on the sounder there now, that's exactly what you're looking for. We've come up onto some pretty rugged country, pinnacles and flat top sections of reef, and there's the fish there to prove it. You can see the arches there. There's snappers sitting there waiting for you to cast your lure on top of them. Once you've put the cast in, cast out, keep an eye on that belly in the line, get that reel in gear, and just allow that lure to sink down the water column. You've got to remember 10 metres is about the height of a telegraph post. If you're in 20 metres of water, that's quite a depth, 2 telegraph posts stacked on top of each other. Keep in touch with that belly, let it sink down for a little bit first. If you start working it too early, you're going to bring that lure up into the water column. Once it's down in there, it's a matter of portraying some action to that jerk shad. And remember, it's a long, skinny stick bait, so there's not a lot of action involved in it. So you've got to create that action. There you go, Josh. Well done, mate. Nice little snapper. So there's a result of a bit of drift casting. Josh is at the front, and the sounder just looks unbelievable there at the moment. I can see it, so I guess he's come out of that school there. So nice fish, nicely coloured fish, and certainly if you're going to eat a snapper, this is the size to take, mate. So well done. This is Josh's snapper here on a 7-inch jerk shad, so we'll show you how to rig a 7-inch jerk shad to swim down and hopefully catch you a snapper like this. 7-inch barbecue chicken, half-ounce nitro jig head, 5.0 hook, pretty well the recipe for success, hopefully anyway. Slide it in through the top of the jerk shad, out through the start of the slitted section, up onto the bait keepers, through the back there, and out. There you go. 7-inch jerk shad ready for a snapper. We'll see. Well, as you can see in here, it's quite windy. The old sea anchor, or drift anchor, whatever you want to call it, drogue, all means the same thing, is an invaluable piece of equipment, especially when you're doing drift casting. So leave it out. Obviously, it goes onto on the windward side of your drift, slows that drift down, probably cut your drift down in half. So cheap bit of gear, definitely one to have, and very handy item when you're chasing snapper on plastics. One part of chasing snapper on plastics, or any fishing over shallow reef, is you're going to get snagged once in a while. It's just happened to me. 30 turn bimini twist, Vanish fluorocarbon leader. Now that's what I'm using for my leader. So a double uni knot connection to that bimini twist, about a rod length of leader, or a bit over a rod length, down to a lefty's loop knot and my half-ounce jig head. Pretty simple. As far as tackle goes, it's about as light as I normally fish in these waters anyway for snapper. This is a 3 to 6 kilo Asara Fluga rod, beautiful rod, really high modulus rod, capable of pulling some really, really big fish out of the water. It's a spinning rod. I generally still like to fish with spinning rod when it comes to snapper. This is a new development reel that I'm using, but any of the 2,500 to 6,000 size reels, whether it be a Sauron or one of the Fluga range of reels, perfect for the job, absolutely perfect. And this is 10-pound microfuse. 10 pounds probably the minimum, I guess. I like to fish with that. If you're not too confident with something that light, 8 to 10 pound, maybe start at 14 or 20 pound. And as you get more and more confident with that style of tackle, then you can lighten up a little bit. So I'm going to lighten up. I've been snagged, don't get too worried about it. Just re-rig and get out there and have another go. There we go. I'm selecting jig heads. That half ounce is really a good place to start. You can always go down to 3/8 or a 1/4 ounce if you're fishing really shallow country without a lot of wind or current, or even up to a 5/8 or even bigger 3/4. But that half ounce seems to be a pretty good place to start offshore. Yeah, there he is. That's a good bite. That's what we want to see. Yes. Righto. I hooked a really good snapper here. We've got Josh Josh is on the engine. Lukey's pulled the sea anchor up. Sometimes it takes a bit of teamwork to get these big fish in, especially on light tackle. It's quite a good fish. Bit further forward, Josh. It's taking a lot of line, probably 100 yards in that first run, so it's quite a nice fish. If you stay above the fish, even in this shallow country, you've got half a chance. If you let them go out too far, that'll do, Josh. If you let them go out too far, then it's just a game of angles. It's a nice snapper, I can see it there now. There's no doubt since the invention of super lines, light tackle and really good thread line reels, the ability to catch big fish like this on light tackle and really enjoy the sporting side of it has just improved out of sight. Bit of reverse there, mate, quickly. And that's a nice fish. Just get Josh to back up. The wind's blowing that hard as we're dragging the fish along there now. He's done his big run, really nice male fish. Here he comes, righto. Let's get the net underneath him. All right, Josh. Yeah, all right. And there we have it. That's a nice, very nice snapper. And that is what drift casting for snapper is all about, that bite on the sink that you see the belly in your line just straight and scream off, light tackle, smoking drags, a bit of teamwork to make sure you don't get dusted in the reef, and that's the result. That is quite an ugly fish. Important to get them back in the water pretty quick too. So, pair of pliers here. Let's get that jig head out. Look at the damage on that jig head, those big crushing teeth. So there he is. I wouldn't mind a quick photo, important to do, get the fish back in the water. Righto, so he's had a nice drink there. You can see his fins are up and right, he's right to go. Quick photo. Luke's on the camera, nice and tight, Luke. Righto, a couple of quick shots, one more. All right, we've had our fun, back in the water. Come on, mate. And there he goes, swimming straight down. All right, awesome stuff. There he goes, swimming away. So that fish, the survival chances of that fish is really high, and that's the important thing. Our technique for catching snapper on soft plastics is developed, and the machinery we use, the leader, Vanish fluorocarbon leader, the line, the tackle is so good now, and that Gulp product is so good. It's important that we've got to let those big fish go. Certainly have a lend to them like we did there. Got a couple of photos. Photos last forever. Away he goes, and hopefully I can come back and catch him when he's about 14 kilos instead of 5.5. You've been watching Fishing the Edge. I'm Michael Guest, and as I always say, there's time for one last cast. To see you on the water next time.